What's going on, everybody? This is Benjamin Bokchoy bringing you another F1 23 ranked online video. Today we have 3 races for you. The first 2 are from last week's races, and the third race will be from this week's races. So this first one is at Spa. We managed to qualify P2 on the softs. We were quite a ways behind P1, the pole sitter here, so wasn't really expecting us to do well. He started on the mediums as well. It takes a lot of confidence to start on the slower tires from pole position. Generally, you only really see the either really fast guys who know what they're doing, or the really dumb slow guys who think they're pulling a good strategy. But I figured since this guy qualified so much faster than us, he was the former and not the latter, so we just kind of tried to stay as close as possible, but he was just really quick. So we managed to stay within DRS for the first few laps. I believe this was a B license lobby. As you can see, there's no contact here. We managed to stay within DRS for the first few laps, but even on the being on the softs, and him being on the mediums, he was just so much quicker. Apologies for the audio and video desync. Don't know why, but it's only on this first race here, so you don't have to deal with it too much. So after we get onto the mediums, we did manage to stick to P1 by 7 seconds, but he's on the softs at this point, and he was just so much faster than us that we really didn't have a chance. So P3, pretty close behind us as well, almost 4 seconds behind. So he had pretty good pace, and we were just kind of stuck in no man's land for the entire race here. Like I said, we were able to stay within DRS for the first few laps, but since, once lap like 4 or lap 5 hit, he just kind of pulled away. The softs were starting to go, and he was just much faster than us. So from pole to victory, Elo wired, but we come home with a P2 finish, so I'm happy with that. It allowed us to get a whole bunch of points to help us get promoted to gold. Now, since this is the final race that I did last week, it is at Zandvoort. We lost force feedback in qualifying once again. Don't know what the deal is with that. Cody's, get your shit together. But we were still able to finish or qualify P6 even without force feedback. So we're starting on the softs. And this is an A license race, so we can use custom setups. I think we were 47 37 wings, I believe it is, or 38 wings. So right off the bat, we lose 1 position, and we're on the inside here, just about to go into the carousel, and we lose another position to a guy down the inside there. Now, guys behind us, I think they just got on the throttle way too quick. One guy spun out, took out the rest of the grid. So we're down to P8, and I'm trying not to use too much battery here, as it's really difficult to harvest battery at this track. So currently down to P8, but that's fine. The leaders aren't too far ahead yet. Kind of useless using ERS so early at a track like this, as everybody will be battling super hard to try and gain positions, and they'll just be slowing everybody down. So as you can see, we're almost in sector 3 right now, still have 100% battery at this point. So I'm going to save the battery for when we can actually overtake and not waste it just to close up and then not gain the position anyway. So P7 has a bit of a moment, but I was afraid that he was going to swipe back down the track, so I didn't bother trying to make it by him, which I think was a good decision. So he is now almost a second down on the car ahead, and it looks like he's a little unsteady behind the steering wheel, so we're going to be looking for opportunities to pass here. Zandvoort's not really a strong track for me, so even if we did have force feedback in qualifying, I don't think we would have been on pole, probably maybe P4 at best, judging by the qualifying times. So lap number 2 right now, and the guys behind are almost 4 seconds back, so there's no threat from behind. We're just looking straight forward at this point. We don't have to worry about the cars behind, so that's one thing going for us. Now going into this right-hander, the car ahead loses it, goes out wide, and once you get on those curbs there, it's really difficult to gain traction back. So we get 1 position here, up to P7 now. The driver ahead is on mediums, and he's fallen back outside of DRS from the cars ahead. So we're not really close enough to make a move yet at this point, but we will stick behind until DRS is enabled and then make the move. So you can see we still have almost 90% battery from not using it from the start of the lap till now, and we are going to use a little bit here. I know I always tell you guys to save your battery, but I'm assuming that a lot of people are just using time trial setups. 50-40 wings, I believe, is the time trial setup for Zandvoort. So we're going to try and take advantage of our straight line speed and close up a bit. And as we come around here, one car off the track, we gain another position. We are up to P6 now. So 2 laps later, or on the next lap, I'm not sure how many laps it's been, almost to the start of lap 4 here, we are right behind the car ahead, and we get DRS. We just open up the rear wing, use a little bit of overtake. Actually, I'm not sure if we used a little bit of overtake or not, but we managed to get out in front. He was on the medium, so we didn't have a great final exit or great final corner, and we took that position. Now, P7, and we are up behind this Gallicus guy. We were about 1.2, 1.3 behind him, but he was still within DRS when we overtook the car in P6. So I just sat behind him a little bit, waited for him to fall out of DRS to the cars ahead, which he has now. He is about 1.7 seconds behind Vasquez in P3. So not going to overtake here, as you can only really hit 7th gear down the straight, so you're not going to be getting too much overspeed, but we do manage to close up right on his rear wing here, and like I said, he's not within DRS of the car ahead, so we're going to use a little bit of battery, trying to stay close through the penultimate corner here. He gets a pretty decent exit, but we get a pretty decent exit as well. Turn on the overtake and open up DRS. He goes down low, we stay up high, and that is an easy overtake. So a few guys into the pit lane right now. We get promoted up to P3, but I believe the net leader is in the pit lane here. So we're in a good spot. The car's ahead, only a few seconds up, and we are P3, and we have cleared a lot of slow traffic. So we're looking good at this point. Coming in, or coming out of the pit lane here, we are P4. As the net leader has passed us again, and we come out just in front of the guy that we just overtook on the previous lap. So Gallicus behind us now, and this isn't a B license race, so we actually have tire temps, and we are on the medium tires. So Gallicus has had 1 lap to warm up his tires. He is just breathing down our neck at this point. Using a little bit of overtake to try and stay ahead, because I figured he seemed slower than us when we were behind him, and I didn't want him to get out in front of us and slow us down, as the driver ahead is only 2 seconds in front. So we had an opportunity to pass here, but our tires are still cold. As you can see, they're still blue, so they haven't gotten up to optimum temperatures yet. And then he was just so close, I decided to just let him go. We go out wide here. He was going to get DRS anyway, and I figured he was going to just keep on attacking and slow us down, so I just let him go and see what he could do, and then maybe we can just sit behind him and have him drag us to the car ahead. So we are just getting into the green temps right now, or optimal tire temps. He has a bit of a moment coming out of the final corner here, so we just open up the DRS. We don't have enough battery to really use it. I didn't want to waste it here, so we didn't really get that far ahead of him going into this corner, but the tires are still not at 90 degrees yet, so they just hit 90 degrees. We go a little bit wide, he gets around us, and we have to let him go again. No point in fighting. So at this point, we were really just a little bit too far back from P3 to really make a move, so I figured we just sit behind this guy, which we did for about 5 laps, harvested a little bit of battery. We are at about 50% now, and like I said, he didn't look super quick. It wasn't too difficult to stick behind him. I didn't want to just overtake him again and then have him overtake us on the next lap, so I figured we'll harvest enough battery to where once we do get ahead, we can maybe stay ahead and not have him fight too much, and then maybe have him use a little bit of battery trying to defend, so that when we do get ahead, he doesn't have too much to attack us with. Now remember, Zandvoort uses up a lot of fuel, at least for me anyway. So we managed to get ahead of him and stay ahead. It's P18 or lap 18 now. We are up to P4, and I figured we were gonna finish P4. But as you can see, Vasquez in front of us, he's flashing. He's going kind of slow. He's at 1.4 ahead of us now, and he's just kind of going even slower. We're just kind of gaining on him out of nowhere, and then Gallicus starts dropping back as well. And I think they both ran out of fuel. So it is set to normal, and you can go a little while when you run out of fuel, but I believe after a lap your car just DNFs on track, and I think that's what happened with Vasquez and Gallicus. So we managed to finish on the podium there because we overfueled our car by 1 lap, so that kind of helped us out. Now on to Monza in the first race of this week with the quote-unquote strict corner cutting rules. We managed to qualify P3 after losing force feedback in qualifying. Castro Neves gets a good start, and he's on the outside on the grass. I don't really know how he expected to stop with 1 or 2 tires on the grass there, but he goes a little bit deep into that corner anyway. The cars behind us get into a little bit of I don't know what happened behind us. I didn't see it, but a whole bunch of them just kind of lost time in that first chicane there. So we're currently P3 right now, and we're okay. I don't want to use too much battery. This is Monza, and I want to save the batteries for when we are overtaking. I think time trial setup is 9.9 wings. We are on 7.7 wings, and I'm not sure if maybe we should go lower. Maybe we should have gone lower, but I'm not quite sure yet. I don't really race at Monza too often. So P3 right now, and we are still at 93% battery. We're still sticking close to the leaders, so I saw no reason to drain the battery on this first lap to try and keep up. But as you can if you take a look at the leaderboards there, Castro Neves 99 is gaining a bunch of time. So I don't know if he's on like 0.0 wings or something like that, but he is gaining a bunch of time. He might just be spamming his battery as well. So coming around the final corner here, we are still under a second to P2, and I figured we are in a good spot here. We are on the mediums as well, so if P1 kind of goes ahead, that's fine. And then Castro Neves, I figured he was going to dive bomb us here, and he does. And he goes in deep and then kind of blocks us there. I don't know. Technically, it might be legal, but I don't like it. You're just dive bombing and putting it on other drivers to not turn in on you. I think it's a dick move, even if it's technically okay. It's just kind of a, I don't know. It's not good overtaking there. It's just get out of the way, or both of us are losing this race, or both of us are crashing out of this race, which I think is it's a really bad way to race. But anyway, we're down to P3 now, as Castro Neves has stopped to pit. And he came in super early, went from the softs to the hards, and the car ahead of us, as you can see, his light is flashing now, so he's used up pretty much all of his battery. We are at 50% still. He has a bit of a moment coming out of this corner here, but we weren't really close enough to get DRS at the DRS detection point, so we won't be getting DRS. Wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do, but we were so fast here because he was running out of battery that I decided to just turn on the overtake right at the last second, because I didn't want us going in side by side. I figured if we're going to be going in pretty close into the first chicane, then I at least want to be a little bit in front. So we both get out of there clean, and we take the position. We are up to P1 now, as the other driver has jumped into the pit lane to get off of his soft tires. So now we are the provisional leader at this point. I was hoping that the 2 guys ahead were going to get stuck in traffic, but there wasn't any traffic in front of them to really slow them down. So they'll be getting a bit of time, but we are still in P1 right now, and we're taking these corners a little bit better than the driver behind. Now we're going to come into our pit stop for the soft tires, and we don't have the pit assist on, but the guy behind definitely does. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, I suppose. I was just happy that they finally made the corner cutting strict again. But I don't really know if that's the case, as we'll see later on. So we come out of the pit lane. The driver behind is right on our gearbox now, and we are going to lose this position. I'm not going to fight too hard, because I think we're quicker than this guy anyway. So we're going to let him by. I'm not going to use any battery. No point in defending at this point. Tommy UK is only 2.7 seconds ahead. I figured we could leapfrog each other here and catch up to the leaders. And the Castro Neves guy who went straight on lap 1 is currently in P1 on the hard compound tires. I don't really know what strategy that was. I think the mediums would have been a lot better. But on the next lap, we are close enough for DRS. So we are about to get it. I didn't want to use any battery here, but he was just kind of slow. We had a lot of overspeed here, and I figured I don't want to go in side by side, so we'll just use some battery here just to make sure that we get out in front. So we are a little bit out in front here, and we managed to make it through the chicane pretty cleanly. And again, we are wheel to wheel, side by side, and I don't want to be in this position, so we just turn on the overtake just to get ahead of him, to avoid any contact there. So We managed to keep P3, and coming into the chicane here, we get rear-ended. Yeah, I don't know. Some people will say you're braking too early, but it's not really a good argument. You, as the car behind, you need to be the one to not drive into everybody else. All right. I'm on much lower wings than I'm used to, and I had to brake a little bit earlier. And plus, we definitely had the pace on this guy, so I don't think him braking later was any faster, as we caught up to him pretty easily here. So lap 11. We've got 40% battery. We've caught up to him again. Now the leaders are a little bit too far ahead for us to really do anything at this point, so we're just fighting for P3 now, and we get DRS again. We are going to use a little bit of the battery here to make sure that we get out in front, and we managed to take the position and make it through turn 1 without any issues. So we are 1.6 behind Castro Neves on the hard compound tires, but I think he must be using a lot lower wings, as he's just so much faster on the straights here. Tommy UK has made it out into P1 at this point, and I think he's going to win the race. So we're racing for the final position on the podium, and we've got this guy right on our gearbox, and he's already driven into us once, and I'm hoping that he doesn't drive into us again. So he's going to get DRS down here, but he doesn't really get a great exit out of the second Lesmos there. So even though he does have DRS, he's not really going to get close enough to make a move down this DRS straight. We've got traffic in front of us, but they're ghosted out, thank God. And we're going to use him to give us a little bit of a tow down here, but he moves off to the right hand side. I don't know, it says AI controlled there, but I'm not sure. So coming into Parabolica for the penultimate time here, we are about 5.5 tenths in front of the driver behind. We only have about 10% battery left. We're draining our battery. He's closing up on us. I'm keeping my line here. He's close enough to try and make a move. And then as he goes into turn 1, he just drives into us, knocks us off. But he also loses control himself, so that's the second time he's driven into us. And I've looked back at the replay. I kept my line into turn 1 there. He swung out left a little bit to try and open up the corner there. But, I mean, what can I do? I'm right there. I'm going straight. And he just drove into us. But luckily for us, we managed to keep the position anyway, and now he's almost 9 tenths, 8 tenths behind us, and not really enough time on, not enough time in the race now to really make a move. So he does have this DRS zone, but he's just a little bit too far back. He's almost a second back at this point, and he's not going to be able to make a move down here. We are really low on battery at this point, but he's too far back to really do anything anyway, so we just got to make a tidy sector 3 here, and we should be able to keep the win. So good through there, and we are 7 tenths ahead now. He might have a little bit of battery, but again, there's only one corner left, so he's not going to be able to really do anything as long as we don't screw up Parabolica, which we don't. We had a little bit of an oversteer moment, but not too much. We were able to control it, and we managed to stay out in front of him. So yeah, our first race with the supposedly new strict corner cutting rules in place, but I'm not really sure. We'll go and check the race directory for you real quick. So here you go, boys and girls. There's there's 2 guys that have 3 warnings with no time penalties. So I don't really know if it's actually strict or not from now on. I don't know. Tommy UK's got 3, and Mini Grisales has 3, and no time penalties. So I don't know. The patch notes did say that there were strict corner cutting rules now, but I have no idea. But that's it for us, guys. If you think I've earned it, feel free to leave a like, comment, or subscribe. Stay tuned for more. Remember to eat bok choy, and I'll see you in the next one. Hopefully the rules will actually be enabled, maybe for next week, the next full race week. I don't know. All right, I'll see you guys.